Okay guys, we will start the live session. Let us start the live session. Much better. Hello everyone, good afternoon. This is Ashank David and welcome to our channel Coders Arcade. This is going to be on C++, this live session, and we are going to cover all the basic concepts like variables, comments, data types, and a lot more different things like we will see. So as soon as we are going into the concepts, we will see. Okay. So 3 people have joined us. Okay. But anyways, let's start. So let's start. So in the previous C++ live session, I was talking to you guys about the preprocessor directives and how the C++ preprocessor directive works. And basically here we talked about how the 3 types of preprocessor directive works. Those were macro substitution, file inclusion, and compiler control preprocessor directives. Now in this session, because we are starting with C++ concepts, we will be learning about all the basic concepts just before we go ahead into any particular programs. Today I am going to explain you a lot of different things that are used in the concept of C++. So when are we writing C++ programs, see what do? We start by writing, as we already know, we say hash include, and we say iostream, and we say using namespace std, and then we say int main, and here we say return 0 at last. We will talk about why do we write return 0 very soon, because it is a concept of functions, and we will be talking about that very soon. Okay, so after this we will be writing, let's say for example, cout statement and hello. So this is how we have done it, and we will write endl also. Okay, so in this program, as you can see, I hope so that this program is much more better visible now. So you see that here we are writing the first thing first, that is the preprocessor directive. I've already explained you about what is preprocessor directive in our previous live sessions. So it is a file inclusion preprocessor directive which allows us to include the file before the compilation starts. And when this happens, this stdio.h file or in this case iostream file gets included in this case. Now how C++ is different from C is that there in C programming we use stdio.h, while in C++ we use iostream. Well, iostream is the type of file which we use in C++. Well, here as I told you that in C++ we use everything in C++ happens to be stream of bytes. So C++ is a little bit faster than C programming in this case, and there the file is included, here the stream is included. And you can see that the functions and so in C programming there was printf and a scanf function which we saw last time, which was working from stdio.h, but in iostream we get cout. Now cout is not a function here. See, let me just tell you one thing, that what exactly is a function. A function is a small piece of block of code which gets executed whenever it is called, and the identity of the function is a parenthesis. So when you say let's say for example, if I would have said, let's take an example. For example, here I said printf. If I say printf, then this is the open small brackets is the identity of the function. Now this printf is a function which was coming from stdio.h, but here cout is not a function. Here cout is just a command to just get everything into the output stream. So for that reason we say cout for console out and console input for cin. So in this case cout is used to print out things just like how printf works, and cin on the other hand is used for taking the input. So we will come to how to take the input also in C++ very soon, but here we are writing this. So just like you see, main is also a function here, as you can see here, right? So that is what IOStream does here basically. And now next is using namespace std. So using namespace std, as I told you already, I have explained this in the previous live sessions, that this is just to fix the name clashing. So when the name clashing happens, we using namespace std. So basically namespaces are used, and std is for standardization. So we are basically making all the functions, inbuilt functions and the commands standardized in the whole program, and for that reason it fixes the name clashing part in C++ programming. So for this reason we do it. Now we write the main function, and we understood why we write the main function. Main function is written for one main reason, and that is for the code execution. We have already understood in the very first live session that we had, that why do we write main function. Just let me just tell you in brief. Main is the place where the actual execution starts or happens, and for that reason we write main. And main is a function. A function will have a return type, and in this case int is the return type. Now I will tell you what exactly is that int very soon when we are starting with data types. But right now, as of now, this int indicates that it's an integer type of value which will be coming out of this main function. Okay, and for that reason we are writing return 0. If I would have written here void main, void void main, then we don't have to necessarily write this. But in this is C++, and most of the time in C++ we write int main. So we will get to know about this in a much more better way as soon as we are progressing into our course. But in this case we write int main, and always remember that the main function is the place where the execution happens. Now after this I have written cout and hello and then end L. So here cout is the printf statement, or in this case the same thing that printf does in C programming. In C++, cout does the same exact thing. End L here on the other hand is the command which is used to move the cursor to the next line. So basically end line basically. So when the program is getting executed, when the program executes, the cursor will go to the next line automatically, and if you are trying to print anything else or if you are doing anything else, it will happen in the next line. And for this reason we use end L. Now these are the operators we use, because in C++ we don't use the parenthesis, and for that reason we use this operator, insertion operator we say. So there are two types of operators, insertion operator and exertion operator, where we use exertion in scanf while insertion in cout. So basically this is insertion operator, and cout is used with it in order to pass anything, any command or anything which is there. So in this case hello we are passing basically. Okay, so this is the case in this case. So here this is a program which was used to just print hello or hello world, whatever you can say. It's up to you, whatever you want to print, and this is how, this is the program. So basically ultimately programming language, C++ is a programming language which is used to do a lot of, so basically it's a part of communication between us and the computer. So we are trying to talk to my computer right now that you have to print hello in the output screen, and for that reason we are doing this. Okay, so this was just the basics part that we have all covered in the previous live session. Let us continue from today's concept, and today's concept we will start from the very basic part, and that is comments. In the last class I have explained you about preprocessor directive, which was the first concept. Now the next concept which I am going to take is comments. Now because comments is a very small concept which can be covered in 5 to 10 minutes, and for that reason I am taking this first. Okay, so let's move on to comments. So first of all, what are comments? Let's go back to our board here, and we have seen already, we have done a lot of different things. So in the previous class, all of this is coming from the previous class. Okay, so let us write here. Okay, so now we are talking about comments basically. Okay, so let's talk about comments. Okay, so here we are going to talk about comments in C++. So what exactly is comment? Okay, so here we have the comments here. Okay, so comments is a concept which allows us to increase the readability of the program. Say for example, here in this case, we have written the code. For example, we have written the hello world program only. Now we can use comments into it for it to increase the readability of the program. Comments are used to increase the readability. Readability is the main thing. Without readability, so it is for us, for our understanding, for human understanding. Okay, comments are meant for humans, and we write comments in our program in order to make our program much more readable. Now suppose you are working in a company, and in your company you are writing a code, another developer is also there. Okay, so it is going to be like you may pass your code with another developer, or they might pass you their code. So if how you will read their code? It might be possible that right now we are not writing that much very big codes right now, but later on in future, when you write big lengthy codes where complex things will be there, then at that time, after say suppose you have written today your code, after 10 days it might be a little difficult for you to understand where this code was doing, what was this code doing in the program. Okay, so for that reason, to increase the readability, we describe it by writing comments. So comments are used for increasing the readability. Comments gets ignored by the compiler. They get ignored by the compiler. Okay, ignored by the compiler. So compiler, they don't care about the comments. Comments, as I told you, is just for us, for human beings, for our understanding, so that our code is much more readable. So when you pass your code to somebody else, or somebody else will try to pass their code with you, you can read and understand what exactly that particular code is actually doing in this case. And for that reason only we use comments. So comment is the main thing here. Make sure that you write comments in your program. And you should have a habit of writing comments, but there is good practice also and bad practice also. Now good practice is that you should have the habit of writing comments into your program, and bad practice is that not everywhere you should write the comments, because it unnecessarily increases the length of the program, and we don't want that to happen. First thing first, how to write the comments. Okay, so comments are written in many different styles. So first of all, to understand this, we need to understand the different types of comments. So there are different types of comments. Okay, types of comments. Okay, what are the different types of comments? There are many different types of comments. Number one is we have single line comment. Okay, we have single line comment in the beginning. Okay, the next comment is, next type of comment is called as multi-line comment. Single line, then we have multi-line, and then on third we have third type of comment also. People may think that there are only two types of comments, but actually there is a third one also, which we officially don't call it as comment. So many people don't call it as comment, but yeah, it is also a type of a comment only, and that is doc strings. Okay, or documentation string. Doc strings or documentation string. So there are three types of comments basically, and majorly in most of the programming language, and that is single line, multi-line, and documentation string or doc strings in the short form. So single line comment, as you can tell, that it allows us to write a comment in one single line. Okay, so when we are writing the comment in just one single line, we call it as single line comment. And how it is written basically, it is written like this. So if you want to write a single line comment, we give double / like this, and then we write a comment. So this is a single line comment. Okay, so this is the single line comment. So this is the major thing here. Okay, this is the major thing here. This is how you start writing comment in C++ or C programming, in fact it's the same. So you first give the double forward slash and then you can write the comment, and whenever you give us the double forward slash, it becomes a single line comment. Remember, if you press enter, it will not be a comment anymore because it is a single line comment. So again in the next line you have to give the this, but you don't have to, because again it is a single line comment, so it is used for single line purpose only, and for this reason we just use it like this. Okay, I'll show you the execution of the program also when it comes to the execution part. Let's talk about multi-line comment. Now multi-line comment is a type of a comment which allows you to write multiple lines, as the name suggests. So we start multi-line comment by writing forward slash single time and then we give a star, forward slash and star we say. Okay, so we give forward slash and star. So now this is a multi. Now I can press enter, line and comment. Okay. Now whenever a multi-line comment is ended, we end it with a star and then forward slash again. So basically forward slash and star we give to start the multi-line comment, and then to end it we give star and then forward slash again. So this will be the multi-line comment. So basically multiple lines you can write like this. So forward slash star, you write one line, you write second line, third line and so on, and you end with a star and forward slash like this, and it works. I hope so that this is very much clear to all of you. All right. Yep. So let us move on to the next one. Okay, so this is just an example I am showing you right now. Now next up is documentation string. Okay, so documentation string. Now documentation string is, as the name suggests, it is used for the documentation purpose, and that is your documentation string. In this case what happens is, it is also a 95% multi-line comment only, but the difference here is that you give forward slash, but here you give 2 stars. Now rather than giving 1 star you give 2 stars, and as soon as you press enter it gives you bullet points in every particular line. It will give bullet points. Okay, so like this. All right, like this it will give you multiple bullet points. So you can write all your lines in like this: first line, second line, third line, fourth line, fifth line. And it also, because it's just like a multi-line comment, it ends with a star forward slash, just like this. Maybe you can write it like here, or maybe you can write it like here. As soon as the line ends, that is also fine, that is also fine. Okay, so here there are 3 types of comments as we just saw here. That is the single line comment, multi-line comment and documentation string, as you can see here. Okay, so now let us move on to our VS Code and try to execute one program on this. So here we are, right now we are in the program, and here let us say I want to write a single line comment. So I'll give double forward slash like this, and I'll write like this: this is a single line comment. Okay, and you can see it is coming with a green line. This is a single line comment. This will be ignored by the compiler and it won't get executed. So compiler will only see hello, return, main using namespace and IOStream, but not this, because this is not meant for the compiler. It is meant for us, for human beings, and for that reason we call it as a single line comment basically. Okay, so later on when you are writing your program, when you write big programs, okay, in that case you have to include your comment in this. So as soon as you include this comment, it will increase the readability of the code, and you can see here that now you can tell what exactly this line is doing or what this piece of code is doing. Say for example, I want to say, I can just say small example, now below line will print hello. Okay, so see now this is mentioning about, this is telling the details about the next coming line which I have written here. So this is the use of single line comment, but this is not a good practice guys, this is a bad practice. If you have already if you already have knowledge about what cout does in this case, then you don't have to write this comment in this case, because it is just unnecessarily increasing the length of the code. And this is where you understand good practice and bad practice. Good practice is use comments most of the times wherever it is required, and bad practice is unnecessarily writing comments even if it is not required. Here this comment is not required, but I am still writing it, so it becomes a bad practice because it is just increasing the length of the code unnecessarily, but it will be ignored by the compiler anyways. So but anyways, you should not do this, because otherwise it increases the length of the code and code becomes a lot of readability. Too much of readability is also not good. If you have this code is not been, this code nobody will see your code as a client. Other developer or maybe other programmer might see your code. So in that case, single line comment like this, or maybe multi-line, or whatever type of comment you can use it like this, but not too much, not everywhere. We know already what this does is, so we don't have to write that kind of thing. But I just wanted to show you the example of single line comment, and this is the example of single line comment. So we initially start by writing double quotes, double forward slash, and then we write the line like this. And this is how we use single line comments. Okay, so this is your single line comments. Next up, multi-line comment. So now let's say I want to write a multi-line comment. I can write a multi-line comment. Let's say after the main function I'm writing, I'll start by writing forward slash and then a star. Okay, and you can see that VS Code automatically ended it for me. I'll just press enter, and now you can see this is a enter multi-line enter comment. You can see that I can do a lot of like this. See, you can see a lot of lines I can write and still it is a comment. It's coming with the green part only. See, this is a multi-line comment. I can write multiple lines, but in a single line comment, whenever you are writing, you see, whenever you are saying enter, now it is not a any comment here, because that is used for single line, and because of that reason only, like we have this multi-line comment in this case. I hope so that you have understood this very well. Okay, so multi-line comment is basically the type of comment which allows you to write multiple lines of comment in one single short, like it's like this in one paragraph, like that is your multi-line comment. Next up is going to be documentation string. Now documentation string, as I told you, is 95% same as the multi-line comment in this case. So you start by writing forward slash, and then rather than giving 1 star, we give 2 stars, and you see, as soon as you press enter, it starts giving you bullet points, as I have told you in the example. So this is a multi-line doc string, okay, or documentation string. Okay, so this is a documentation string in this case. So rather than giving a single line, your single star, you give 2 stars with the forward slash. So this gives you whole bullet points, and you can work with a lot of bullet points, and you can see that it is it looks much more nicer. So it gives you a more description of things. Where do we use it? Basically we use it most of the time when we are writing functions. Okay, so not everywhere. You can use it according to your purpose, how you want to use it basically, but yeah, this is the type of comment only. So this also will get ignored by the compiler, and here in this case it looks like this. So this is the difference. These are 3 types of comments guys: single line, multi-line, and documentation string. Single line means just single line, multi-line means multiple lines you can write, and we know the syntax now: double slash, single slash and star, and ending with star and forward slash. So that is multi-line and single line. Third one was documentation string, which starts with forward slash and 2 stars. We write multiple lines but with bullet points, so you can describe more about the things in detail in points. That is documentation string, and we end it like a normal multi-line comment. Star and forward slash, this is documentation string. Where do we use documentation strings? In functions. Now in future we will have classes on functions and recursion, and that time I'll tell you how we use documentation string with the help of a function. Okay, so this is your comments. I hope so that it is very much clear. Always remember good practice and bad practice in this. Good practice is that you should have comments into your program, and bad practice is you are writing comments everywhere into the program, which unnecessarily increases the length of the program. You should not do that. and for that reason this is your good practice and bad practice, and this is your comments in programming. I hope so that this is very much clear. Our second concept, comments, is over. Let us move on to the third one. If you have any doubts, you can ask me in the comment section below and I will try to clear your doubts. Anyways, let's move on to the next one. Okay, so I'm gonna clear this off. Okay, the next concept is going to be variables, but with variables you need to understand about the data types. So let us first understand data types and then come to variable. Basically, what exactly is a data type? Let us understand on board first, and then I'm gonna switch back to the code editor. Okay, so data types, finally we have come across the main concepts now, and that is data types. So we are talking about data types. What exactly is a data type? When you are working with program, or maybe you are writing any program, you may work with a specific kind of data. What kind of data? It can be in number also. In numbers also it can be decimal also. Maybe it is hexadecimal, or maybe it is a different kind of number. It is a whole number, it is a natural number, it depends. That also can be, it can be a type of data, and that we can mention in data types. If it is a character, it is just one single letter, or maybe it is a word, it can be called as string or a character. These are different types of data types. So basically in programming, data type means what kind of data you are working with, and that is your data type. So now if I tell you about the data types, there are two types of main category, like there are two main categories in data types, and that is, first one is primitive, and the next one is non-primitive. Okay, so first one is primitive and another one is non-primitive. What is the difference here? Primitive are the inbuilt ones. In this case, we are writing primitive as, these are the inbuilt ones. Okay, let me just increase the size of this pen. Okay, so here they are. Inbuilt. These are inbuilt data types. That means they are already present into the programming language itself. Programming language recognizes these data types by default. Non-primitive are user defined. Okay, non-primitive are user defined. So what is the difference here? Now primitive means those data types which are already present into the programming language itself or inbuilt. Those are what you call as primitive or inbuilt data types. And in programming, generally in C++, a lot of things are by default mentioned and by default is understood. For example, the first type of data type that we have in primitive is in numerical. We have first one is integer. Okay, now this is something which you will see a lot. Okay, but before I'm not gonna write it like this. I'm gonna write it by the sizes. So you see, data types will have their own sizes, and the smallest data type that you have in primitive, in numerical, is short. SHORT, short. Don't worry, I'm going to explain you what exactly is this. Next one comes as integer or int. We say small I though, but I have written a capital I, which is wrong. Basically, let me just correct it. We say int, int, like this. Okay. Third one comes as short, int, and then comes as long. And then fourth one, again long and 2 times long. So long and then long. Okay, so these are the numerical types of data types in primitive. which is the very basic one. These are just the 4 normal numerical type data type without decimal point. These are the 4 short, int, long and long. I have written them according to their sizes. In C++ or in C programming, the smallest data type is your short data type. So basically, now let me just tell you exactly what I am talking. Every data type will have their own sizes, and we will discuss about this size in the next class, in the next live session, but let me just give you a brief idea about what exactly it is. Short is the smallest data type, that means it acquires very less space in the memory of your computer. Then comes your int. Int requires a little bit more memory other than short. Then comes your long. Long is even bigger than int, and long is the final one, which is the largest of them all. So in this case, long will have the most memory allocated. What do you mean by this? You see, short is also a number, it is a integer type only. Int is also integer type only. Long is also integer type only. Long is also integer type only. The difference is, short means less number, int means okay more than the previous one number, long is even more numbers, and long is the biggest capacity of data that you can hold as a numerical or integral type of data into it. So this is your numerical or integral types of data types in C++. Alright. Then comes your decimal type of data types. So number 5, we have float. Float means, whenever we say float in programming, it means decimal point data. In this case, in the integer number, when you put a decimal point, that becomes a float type of a data. Short is integer type, int is integer type, long is integer type, long is integer type. The difference is their sizes. Then comes your float data type. Okay, so in that float data type, you have this float data type. Float data type is just a small floating or decimal number in this case. Okay, then comes your double. Double is a little bit bigger than float in this case. Okay, so double comes next, and on the last one comes long double. Okay, so long double is even bigger than your double. So now there are 3 types in decimal types. Okay, so basically that is float, then you have double, and then you have long double. So in this case, float is the smallest one in the decimal types. Then comes double, which is little bit bigger than float in terms of decimal types. What do you understand by this? That means after float, after a decimal point, you can hold 3 values or 4 values, but in double you can hold up to 5 values, 7 values, and in long double even more than 7 or 15 values after decimal point. It's like that. So this is the size difference between the data types in this case. Okay, so these are your decimal types. Then comes the remaining one, and that is eighth. 2 more are there, that is char for character. Here character means one single letter in English. Maybe it is A, or it is B, or it is C, or it is D, or whatever it is. Random letter in alphabet, basically. Alphabet of English is a character, and that type of data is what you call as char data. So this is also a primitive data type. Primitive means it is understood by the computers, by the system in programming, and that is char data type. Okay, and then comes your boolean. Now boolean is something which is there in every programming language. Boolean means 2 values, true or false. Either the value will be true or the value will be false, or whenever it is zeros or ones, true or false, on and off, binary numbers, all boolean. Boolean only means either the condition is true or it is false. Whenever any value comes as true or false, or zeros or ones, it is what you call as boolean value, and any true or false or zeros and ones are called as boolean data types in this case. So basically these are the data types, these are the primitive data types that a programming language C++ understands, and these are inbuilt into the programming language, means it can understand. So whenever you are writing integer data type, it will understand it is an integer type. If you are writing short data type, it will understand it is short. So short is the smallest one, then comes int, then comes long, then comes long, then comes your float in decimal types, then comes your double, and then comes your long double, and after that you have in miscellaneous types of primitive data types, you have character and you have the last boolean. Well, I hope so that this is very much clear. Understood this, guys, everyone? This is your primitive data types. Next up, on the right hand side, we have non-primitive data type or user defined data type. User defined data type are the ones which are defined by us, by user. In future, you will be learning about this more in depth in later on in future classes. There are some things here called as arrays. You will be learning about arrays, okay, and that is your basically you will be learning about arrays, and that will be a type of a non-primitive or user defined data type, okay, and you will have structures. So there is no size of these, we don't know the size of these are all user defined. That means we will only be defining its size as well. So that is the reason why I am not writing it in sequential order. You write it anyways, it is fine. Arrays is a type of a user defined data type. Then comes your structure also is also type of data type. It's not like that first array will come and then structure will come. You can write structure first also. We don't know the size of it, and for that reason we are just writing it like that. Okay, you have unions, and we have a lot more. Now in terms of if you go with other languages like Java and all, you have interfaces, okay, and all. You might not understand it right now, so leave it as of now, but in future we will be talking about more in non-primitive data types. So basically arrays, structures, unions. I'm going to explain you all of this, but these are concepts from advanced classes, so we are going to cover that in later on live sessions. It may take time to reach there in this live session classes. So first you complete this basics parts. First we will understand all the basic primitive data types, and then we will move on to the non-primitive data type, where we will learn about arrays, and we will talk about structures and unions and all of those things. We will understand that later on. Anyways, these are your data types. So basically there are two types of category in data types, and that is primitive and non-primitive, where primitive are the data types which are already understood by the system or the programming language itself. Short, you have int, you have long, you have float, you have your double, you have long double, you have character, you have boolean. These are all primitive. And on the non-primitive data types, we have arrays, structures, unions, interfaces. We will talk about this later on in the later classes. Well, I hope so that you have understood. This is your data type. So data type is nothing but just the type of data that we use into our programming. If the programming language understands it, it is primitive. If the programming language doesn't understand it, or if it is user defined, it is non-primitive. So this is your data type. Next up, we come across variables. Now variables concept we will cover in the next live session, but let's keep this live session till here only. I hope so that you have understood this very well. Slowly we'll increase our pace, and slowly we'll increase our duration of the live stream also. So in that case, because there are not more people right now joining us here, so we are going to cover the next topic in the next class. As of now, for this live stream, this is it, and I hope so that you have understood today's concept. I explained you how this C++ program is working, what is the difference, how it is including, what all things are there. We learned about comments, we learned about data types, and we will be learning about a lot of different things in future also. Well, that's all for this live stream, guys. Thank you for joining me. Okay, and yep, that's all. So somebody is asking in the comment section that some Ayush is asking in comment section, sir, I have developed a website and converted it into an app. Now how can I sell it to the companies and giants? Ayush, it's not like that you can just sell it directly. You can go first you can put up, if it is an app or it is a website. If it is a website, then you can host it. There are multiple hosting channels, hosting links, hosting websites, which allows you to host the website. If it is a website, see, website and app are two different things. Website is just a web page which you are putting onto internet. App is a different thing which you can download. That's also put on internet, but in that case, what happens is that people are able to interact it and keep it in their mobile phones and download it like that. So if it is an app, if you want to upload that app, you can go on, you can search for Google Store, Google Play Store, or Apple Store. If it is a website, then you can there are many domains you can access. There are many different websites like godaddy.com and other different websites are like that. You can buy domain there and you can make the publish that particular website using that domain. There are many different channels for that. I hope so that this doubt is clear about this comment. Well, anyways, that's all for this live session. Thank you for joining us, guys. This is Ashank David signing off. I will see you in the next live session, which is going to be in the next week, again on Saturday. If there is any changes, I will tell you before time. Now this time it was like this. Next time I will be trying to upload the story and the news about this particular live session before 24 hours before only, and we will do the needful. So thank you so much for attending this live session with me. Thank you so much. This is Ashank David signing off. I will see you in the next live session. That's all.